Good morning, friends. In this video, we are going to be talking about how do you move USDT from your FTX account into your Binance account, right? So as you can see, FTX and Binance are very popular exchanges out there, and people do have accounts on both of these. And sometimes you may want to move some money that you have on your FTX into your Binance accounts. So let us see that here on the screen. As you can see, this is my FTX account, right? And then there are a few things. So I do have some USDT that you see here. Now, the intention of this video is to tell you how do you take this USDT from FTX and then bring it down into your Binance account. So this is my Binance account. And as you can see here in the Binance account, I do not have any USDT. I have 0 USDT, right? At the end of this video, you will figure out how to get USDT here in Binance, right? So let us start. Let us look at FTX, right? I have logged into my FTX and you are able to see my wallet. How do I come in here? I'll just show you. I clicked on wallet portfolio and then I'm here, right? So as you can see, I happen to have some USDT, right? So if you see, I have no USDT. Now, what do we want to do? We want to move this from here to Binance. So how do we do that? Let us go do the withdraw. So once I say withdraw, it says it is asking for 2 or 3 very interesting things. So let us look at each one of these in detail, right? Okay. So here, what is happening? When I say I want to withdraw something from FTX, it is asking me for a bunch of details. First, of course, it is telling me how much money do I have. It shows that I have about 35 USDT. Let us say I want to move some 10 USDT from here, right? So I'll choose 10 USDT. There is also an option to say max, which means it will bring up all my USDT. Of course, I don't want to do max. I'll just do 10, right? So essentially, I'm trying to move 10 USDT, right? Second, it is saying, hey, which address do you want to send it to? So what is this address? Let us try and figure this out. Third, it is also saying that, hey, you know what? We support ERC20, TRC20, BIP20, SPL tether, and all of these kinds of things. And then it is showing me something called as a withdrawal method. Let us see what are the withdrawal methods, right? So when I click on this, oh, you see what is happening? It is saying that, hey, you know, you can withdraw money into an Ethereum, address it to Solana account, BSC, AVAX, Tron, and all of that, right? So where are we going to get this address, right? Yes, we are going to get this address from Binance, right? So on Binance, I have again come to my fiat and spot wallet page, right? Okay. So once I scroll down, it shows a list of all things. And of course, there is USDT here. I can also search for that by saying USDT, and then it brings up the USDT. So what do we want to do here? We want to deposit USDT into Binance. So I'm going to click on deposit. Okay, so now the question is, we are here, we want to deposit money into Binance, right? So the question is, Binance is saying, hey, okay, you have USDT, fine, you want to receive USDT, where do you want to receive it to, right? So the question is, it is asking me which network do you want to receive it into. So it shows me a bunch of networks. So what are these networks? These are the various blockchains that Binance supports, right? I can pick any one of these things and then go do the transaction into them, right? It is supporting Binance Smart Chain, AVAX, BNB, Ethereum, Matic, Solana, all of these kinds of things, right? So let us say, okay, let us say for the sake of this discussion, we all understand Ethereum chain, ERC20. So I'm going to click on that. So as soon as I do that, it is giving me an address. You see, it is giving me an address. This address is what I can copy from here. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to click copy here. And let's look at a few other things before we go through this. It is saying expected arrival will happen after 12 network confirmations. What does it mean? It means 12 nodes in the network have to confirm that you have received it. The minimum amount that you're allowed to deposit is 0.0001 USDT, right? Now that we have copied the address, let's go into FTX and let us paste that USDT address here. Right? I'm pasting that address here. You see what happened? As soon as I pasted the address, FTX figured out that this is an ERC20 address, right? And two interesting things show up now. One is that the detection of the network, and second, it also shows an estimated fee. It is saying that the withdrawal fee will be about 2.5 USDT. Right? And interestingly, if in case you were to do this transaction on the chain, probably it's going to be even more costlier. But FTX being FTX, they are saying they will bear half of the blockchain fees. You see this here, FTX is saying that they are going to bear half of the FTX covers half of the blockchain fees, which is good because they want to encourage more people to interact and transact with FTX, and hence they are bearing the cost, right? And what is the other thing that they're saying? Fees will be deducted from the amount sent on the chain. So which means I want to send 10, probably the other person will get about 20, right? So now the question is, hey man, I just want to send 10 USDT and you are going to charge me 2.5 USDT. Oh, this is too costly, right? So what can we do? So let us see if in case we can change the withdrawal method, right? So instead of sending it on ERC20, how about I send it on BSC BEP20, right? Yes, interestingly, I get the same address. You see, the fees is now 0, right? But what is happening here? It is saying BSC BEP20 withdrawals could be delayed. Why could it be delayed? Because there could be a network congestion, right? And be careful and go or take your own risk, right? So let us come back to Binance and see if in case I change it from Ethereum to the BEP20, right? And see what happens, right? Again, it is saying that, hey, it is expected arrival is after about 15 network confirmations, 115 things validate there, then essentially it is coming in here and it accepts as low as 0.001 USDT. So probably, which means I can say, hey, you know what, BSC smart chain, this looks good. I can copy this and then get this thing going, right? Okay. So now let us come back here, right? So it probably it's the same address. Okay, so then we got that. Let us explore other options as well, right? So Binance says, hey, you know what, other than this, I'll also allow you to explore others. So let us go look at maybe the Tron network, right? Let us see what does that do, right? Okay. Anyway, before I go, okay, let's go look at Tron network and see what does it do. See what is happening here. Tron network says only one network confirmation and it should be done pretty fast. So let us copy this Tron address and then let's go back here and then change this address to the Tron address. So as soon as you put that out, right, you say Tron TRC20, right? It says, you know what, your fee is going to be 0 USDT and then you can directly withdraw into TRC20. How do we know this is TRC20 address? Because here we said we chose the Tron TRC20 as the mechanism. We got the address from Binance. We copied this address, then we came in here and then we put it in. So what is the difference? What is the advantage here? In case of Tron, you see the fee is 0 USDT, so which means you don't lose money. Just like we saw the same thing with BSC20, the fees is low. But the advantage here is it takes only one network confirmation. So which means the deposit happens real soon, real fast, right? So let's look at the other option, which was the Solana option. So I can go to Solana. Of course, I have not created any Solana address. So it's saying get address. So I'm going to say get address and it created a Solana address for me. Yes, as you can see here, right? It shows a new address. So I'm going to copy this address, right? And again, here also we have the advantage of Solana doing a arrival with just only one network confirmation. Again, this is going to be super fast, right? So we'll go here and now we are going to change this address, right? And then put in a Solana address, right? So let us see what does FTX say, right? So I'm going to say, hey, Solana, right? And then I put in the address and you can see there is a withdrawal fee of 0.1 USDT. Yep. The confirmations happen very fast on Solana. We saw that, right? So the confirmation happens on only one network confirmation, which means it is really fast. But FTX is going to charge me a 0.1 USDT for me to receive that, right? So given that we have seen all of these options, I would say we have two options. One, okay, by the way, we haven't explored the last option, which is the Avalanche. So let us look at that as well, which is AVAX C chain. So once I go into the AVAX C chain, right, it is asking me to ensure that, hey, the contact address is so and so. Let us just say okay to that. I'm going to copy this. Even here, if you see, it is still asking me for 12 network confirmations. Let us go and change this thing here. I'm going to put the new address that we got. See, it automatically became an ERC20. Now I move from ERC20 to Avalanche AVAX, right? Again, it says estimated fee 0 USDT, right? So what do we see here? We are trying to move money from FTX to Binance, right? On Binance, it allows me to pick up various chains. So each chain comes with its own trade-offs. What are the trade-offs? The trade-offs could be three. One is the fee that FTX would charge. So as you can see, for AVAX, the fee is 0. So in case I change it to ERC20, you see the fee becomes 2.5. In case I go to BSC, then the fee becomes 0, right? So this is the fee. That is one of the trade-offs that we have to look at. Second trade-off is, what does it take for this confirmation to happen? So if in case I'm an AVAX, it takes about 12 confirmations. Probably it'll take a few minutes, right? So now if in case I go into like something like, let us say in Ethereum, you see one, it was costly on that side. Again, it requires some 12 confirmations here. I go into BNB chain, right? Sorry, let's go into the BNB BEP20 chain, right? It requires me to have 15 confirmations as well. Right, and when I go to FTX and say, hey, you know what, I want to do this, and then FTX also wants me that, hey, by the way, there could be a network congestion, be careful, right? So now, given all of these options, maybe let me go to Tron, right? And when I go to Tron TRC20, right, it says, hey, one confirmation, and Tron is supposed to be pretty fast, so let me go in there here, and then you know what, I'll remove this address, I'll put the Tron address here, right? And then I come to Tron TRC20. So you see it says 0 USDT. Now let's go through this transaction and see what happens. Right. So as we discussed, just to summarize, we were looking at fee, the number of confirmations required, right? And then how easy is it for us to send things out, right? So let's look at withdraw. Right. So what is happening now is I am moving money from the USDT from here to my FTX wallet. Yep, looks like it has gone through. Then I will come in here, right? How do we know this thing has happened? Is basically, okay, right? So we look at, go back into the wallet and see if you hit in spot wallet and see if you have received any money in here. If you have received any money, then the USDT will start showing some money. Yep. So what happened here was, we had some 35 USDT. Now we have done the withdraw. Usually it takes some time. You know what happened? Let's look at the withdrawal status, right? You see it is shown as requested, right? So that's the destination that we're doing. And after a while, this money will start appearing there. And why doesn't it happen immediately? Because FTX does batching of transactions. It takes them to wither and then sends it out. So let us just give this some time. And then after a while, it should appear on our Binance, right? Okay, so how do we keep track? You just got withdrawals and keep track of what is happening. So after the withdrawal is complete, it will show that it is complete, right? In the meantime, if in case you change your mind, you can always go delete this transaction and say, hey, cancel my withdrawal, right? Okay, so that is an overview of how do you send money from FTX to Binance, right? And just to make sure that, hey, we are all on the same page, I will reiterate a couple of things that we need to look at, right? So one, whenever you want to move money, you will do the withdraw, and on the withdraw, there are multiple withdrawal methods, right? Each withdrawal method comes with its own cost, right? So as we saw, ERC20 comes with about 2.5 USDT charge. Similarly, BSC20 came with 0, Tron came with 0, right? And then that is one. And second, when we want to say, hey, deposit the money in Binance, then it gives me multiple options to select networks from. So as we saw, BEP20, even though the fees was 0, it still requires about 15 confirmations probably, which means it'll take time. Whereas when we looked at something like a Tron, right, it said one confirmation, probably it'll happen really fast, right? So using a combination of these three things, we are able to see what are the three things we need to look at. One is, what is the network we choose to send the money on? Given the choice of the network, what is the fees that the exchange will ask us to pay, right? Which is in case of FTX. And the good thing with FTX is they still discount the fees, but still the fees are still real. And the third thing that we need to look at is basically the time it takes for this thing to move around, right? So just to reiterate, whenever you want to move money from one exchange to another, we need to be cognizant of three things. Number one, look at the network that we choose. Each network comes at its own pros and cons. Second element is we need to look at the withdrawal fee charged by the exchange, as in case we saw here. Third is that we need to be aware of what is the time it takes for this transaction to happen and to be able to see on the other side, right? So anyway, let us go see what has happened with our withdrawal request. I'm going to say cancel on this and then click on withdrawals, right? You see what is happening? It is saying I am sending, right? You see this sending. Earlier it was saying withdrawal requested. Now it is saying sending. So let us click on this. So what is happening? It takes us to Tron, and you see what Tron has already said. It's a successful transaction. So what does it say? It says account so and so on FTX transfer 10 USD to this address, right? So it says it's a success, right? It is confirmed already 19 blocks. And what did Binance say? It said I just need one block confirmation. So let us go back here and see if in case we have that money landed up in our place. Right, voila, you see here we have got the money which has already come in, right? So when did this money come in? It just came in a few minutes ago. You saw the 10 USDT that has just come in, right? So this is how you transfer USDT from your FTX to Binance. I hope you got some good information in today's video. Looking forward to talk to you about more such interesting topics down the line. You have a wonderful day. Bye.